Howdy y'all, Big Country here with Big Country Survival, and this is a video response to a request from Midwest Prepper on my oldest pocket knife. Alright, well, so age-wise, I've got a Buck 110, and I don't actually have it with me, but I've got an old Buck 110 that was given to me and has at least been owned by 4 separate people. And I have no idea how old it is because it didn't have any specific, serial number. I couldn't find a serial number on it. It definitely had been put through the fire, I'll tell you that. But it's in really pretty good shape. But I think I think they started making the Buck 110s in the 50s. I believe it was the 1950s that they started making the Buck 110. Don't quote me on that, and someone will probably correct me. So it could be as old as that, possibly. Then I've got this little Cutmaster Hawkbill, and I believe that they started making these in the 70s. I believe this is a 70s era knife. I can't remember for certain, but this is actually my EDC, one of my EDC knives. Is this little Cutmaster Utica, New York Hawkbill. So that's an old knife. And then I've got this little Mastercraft pocket knife. No, sorry, I'm going back. The Hawkbill I got was given to me as payment for sharpening up a Crown Royal bag full of knives for a guy, and he said I could take whatever knife I wanted out of it, just one knife, if I put a real good edge on all the rest of them, and so I did. Now this actually is a Mastercraft pocket knife. It's a very old style. I mean, it's an old style knife anyway, but like I said, Mastercraft. And I have not been able to really get much off of it other than wait a minute. USA. That's about it. But now this I believe came from a box of knives purchased at an auction, a charity auction. Had a big old box of knives and they auctioned off the whole box. But now, the oldest knife that I own, the knife I've had for the longest period of time, would be this. This is not a pocket knife, obviously. It's not a folder. It's a belt knife. This is a hunt knife. This was my first hunting knife. I got this knife when I was 6. I've had this knife for 20 years, and this is a homemade knife. All I can tell you about the guy is that was his trademark, that red T. And this was given to me by my dad when I was 6. Because his philosophy was, you want to learn, when you're young, learn on a fixed blade knife, because a fixed blade knife is safer than a folding knife. Fixed blade knife, folding knife, it could fold up on your fingers and slice you and dice you, right? But this thing, it ain't folding up on you. So, and if you're gonna fall doing stupid stuff with a knife and you're gonna fall on the knife, then, it doesn't really matter if it's a fixed blade or a folder, but a fixed blade won't close up on you. If it does, you've got bigger problems, right? But no, he got this knife from my great uncle, I believe. It's my great uncle who he got it from a guy who made knives, and that was this guy. The guy that made this knife is the one that gave it to my great uncle years and years ago, and then he eventually got around to giving it to my dad, and he eventually got around to giving it to me. So I've got a lot of family history in this knife, and one day this is going to be one of my kids' first hunting knives. So I mean, it's nothing fantastical. It's just a fixed blade knife with a deer horn handle. But I gutted my first deer with this thing. I helped clean up my first squirrel with this thing. I've used this thing to cut everything from baling twine and, to sharpening sticks. I mean, gutting deer and gutting squirrels, working them up. I've got a lot of memories attached to this knife, and it's got a lot of history. So anyway, that's my oldest knife. Hope that answered your question. Till next time, Big Country with Big Country Survival. Sorry, I saw something. I'm signing out, and God bless.